Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to the Premier Online Toy Museum. And today I've got something to show you that I've been working on for a couple of weeks because I needed to get it just right before I showed you. This is a Lego radio controlled car with a manual 4-speed gearbox, and attached to it right here is a manual 6-speed gearbox that I can show you how that works. So the first thing that you might notice on this is that there's a lot going on as far as different kinds of pieces. These pieces right here, this is a kind of Lego that came out in 1998 to 99, and it was, promptly discontinued. But I managed to find a bunch of boxes in Toys R Us, and they were on clearance, and I bought everything they had. They're very unique. See, they're light, they're strong, they're meant to compete with K'NEX. So you just pop these in here, and then you can turn them, and you can integrate them in with Technic Legos through the shafts and little pins. They were motorized, so it would come with a motor, and you can see on top, that's where you'd connect your wires, and you'd put gears in it, and then you'd push this into the housing, and then get that to slide in there the right way, and then there'd be a pinion gear and gears in there, and then you could just transfer that energy out. And in fact, I built a steering. I have to find it in some box. I built a whole radio control car that with steering. It had pieces that bent like this, and then you could just pop it off and stick it that way, and then you could have this other piece bending. And so there's just all these different combinations. It came with different kinds of wheels, and which also could be a fan. And then these are smaller wheels that are also like a fan. And then it even had pieces that just connected straight on. And then you could take these pieces and put them inside this purple, connector here. And so there's just all kinds of things you can do. In fact, you could make shocks. So you could take a spring and put it on like a shaft like that and have a spring between it. And I did that. I made, like a suspension system. And here's like a big manual on Snap. And then it just has like different things you can, build with it, just to give you you can see how it's a lot like K'NEX. And it just has all these instructions on things, how to use the, you see that I passed the motor housing. Let's see, yeah, there's the motor housing with the gear inside, so, and then you could see it's building a car. You can see kind of, in the background there. So yeah, it has like an airplane you can build, and then see, that's how the motor would look with the wire. The motors get stiff after a while not using them, but I can open them up and spray a little WD-40 in there and force it and get it to work again. So see, an airplane, you can put a propeller on it, and then look at this kid sitting in a giant. I mean, they had high hopes for this toy, but in a year it was already defunct. But what's great about it, like I said, is it's light, it's strong, and it can do things that take a lot more pieces if you were to use Technic pieces. So weight with building a Lego RC car is very important to keep the weight down. So I didn't put rubber tires in the back. These Snap tires, wheels, you can take them and you can stick them together. They fit together, and then you can make a fatter wheel. But I also wanted something that would slide a little bit, so if it has too much grip, that would put too much pressure on the transmission. So that actually was a big item to overcome the transmission limitations, and I'll get more into that. But as you can see, you could take a Snap piece and connect it here, and gives it like just a stability to the whole frame of the vehicle. And here's the steering mechanism. And so this is your 4-speed gearbox. This is actually your manual switch, and here's your manual over here for the 6-speed. So Here's your, it has actually, I took the differential, this limited slip differential out and just put a simple axle because the differential just, it fell apart too easily with the pressure. But you can see I have, all these gears that are running through here to the axle, and I'll show you how all that works, of course. What was very critical, though, to get everything working here was to get a more sophisticated remote control system, one that has a digitally proportional speed control. Not so much the steering, but the speed control for sure. Because what happens is, when you have a simple speed control, all right, when you push a simple one forward, let's say this is your forward and this is your reverse, it's full speed ahead forward and full speed ahead backwards with a simple one. But with digitally proportional, you can gradually increase the voltage into the gears so that you're not putting so much torque on the gears of the transmission. And under the weight of the vehicle and trying to move the vehicle as well as the resistance inside the gears, the transmission itself, the gears were often slipping. So you have, the teeth of the gears, and they would slip if there's too much pressure. So I had to order this. You can get this on AliExpress for $16, $17. And it's very sophisticated. It actually is an 8-channel remote, and you can even reverse the direction of these two controllers. So, for example, when you're building a vehicle, sometimes the way you have to orient the motor. So, in this, I oriented the motor in the front of the vehicle. Well, in the front of the gearbox, like a real engine. Actually, you have your engine and your gearbox. But the problem is that what happened is down would be forward, not up. And that's not instinctual. But this allows you to switch back and forth, to switch it so that up is then forward. And it can do the same for the steering. So, this is steering to the right, but it might be steering to the left depending on how you've built your vehicle. And again, you just change the switch and it switches it around. So that was really great also because that was a problem with the accelerator. Now, so here's your 6-speed gearbox. A couple of weeks ago, I got this from Temu for about $5.61. And I built it. It worked pretty well. And then I built a car with it. But it kept slipping in 5th and 6th gear. And now I did not have the digitally proportional speed control then, so I actually haven't used this yet with a digitally proportional RC vehicle, but I will be doing that probably because that'll be fun too. But I hooked it up to this remote because the remote can run this and it can run the car. So I'm going to show you how it works. It's very complicated. Here's your motor, all right, and then you have your gears, and this is how you switch your gears. And what it has is these shafts. You see, you push it, and that clicks it. It makes a little clicking sound, and that clicks it into gear. This would be neutral, just like a real car. In the center, that's neutral, and now it's going to be gear engaged. So, all right, what I'm going to do is turn this on, and you look at the orange fan, and that's going to tell us how fast things are going, okay, what gear it's in. So turn the remote on here, just press that down, and then it's searching for the receiver, push that, and now it's on. Okay, so I hooked up a wire to this motor, to this gearbox, through this channel up here. Okay, so right now it's spinning, but it's in neutral. So you see it's not spinning because this is straight upright. So if I move this here, click it into gear, all right, that's first gear. So take note of the speed, and then now you can see it's a little faster. That's second gear. Look again, this is first gear. And see, I don't even have to stop pressing the button down. Actually, it's just like a real car. I can just go right into the gear. So take it into the middle, and then I'm going to go This is going to be third gear. You got to get it right between here, which sometimes is difficult. All right, there. That's third gear. You see it's even faster. And watch, here's fourth gear. Now you see it really moving, right? Now hopefully it'll be all right with fifth and sixth. Here's fifth. Look at how fast it's spinning now. And then we're going to go right to sixth gear. And now it's really going fast. All right, so that is the principle of what's happening. Okay, that's how the transmission works. It's amazing. I got to tell you, though, it's so complicated. I can't understand really what's going on. It's not obvious like you have different size gears and it's moving across, something where it's like this size, this size, this size, and it just gets bigger and bigger and you can see it. It's got all these interactions between the gears that are interacting to create the torque and the gear ratios like a real transmission. And, I'm not an auto mechanic, so I don't understand it on that level, but I can appreciate what's happening here. All right, so now with my 4-speed gearbox, and the reason I went to a 4-speed gearbox is because, like I said, it was slipping and in fifth and sixth, and I thought, well, maybe it'll work the fourth 1 through 4, it'll be fine, because it was fine on here, but it wasn't because I had a more simplistic speed controller, so I needed the digitally proportional one. So, all right, and that solved everything. And that's why I think that if I take the 6-speed gearbox and I put it in a car with the digitally proportional speed control, it'll probably also work. And at the time when I was building it, I kind of had a feeling that's really what I needed. But you know what? I'm going to show you the steering first, actually. So take a look up front. So now it doesn't have a lot of throw in the gear, but this is a servo motor. So you can get those, it's like a kit. You can get like 2 big drive motors and a servo motor. This is a really big high torque motor. This is a smaller one. The high torque really moves the car well and moves the gearbox as well, but sometimes it can be a little bit much. The servo motor, what it does is it just goes like 90 degrees one way or 90 degrees the other, and that's it. So it's more controlled. So now this is digitally proportional, so you can see it can turn, you might be able to see it's actually can turn it, real slow. I can turn it slow or I can turn it fast, okay? And that's how the speed control works as well. So before I put it on the ground and race it around, I'm going to show you here. All right, so it's not in gear. You see, this is upright in the middle. So it's good. Oh no, it is in gear. Okay, so that's first gear. All right, that's first gear. Okay, take a look at all that spinning there. Now, go to second. And can you hear it? It's faster. Then we're going to go to third. Third. Right here. It actually is smoother in the faster gears. And then fourth. Okay. Now, there's a lot of issues, but I'm going to run this on the ground and I'll show you. But there was a lot to get right with this vehicle. So if you'll notice, I have rubber bands on it. I have the clear bungees holding things together. I have this Technics piece going across, and then you can see I have a clear bungee holding that down. Getting the steering mechanism, you have to get it on the right orientation. You see these teeth in here? So you see how that spins it? So when I first made a car, it was kind of like that. And it would steer, but it's not efficient because it's also plowing into the ground. So on this car, this is my second car I built. The first one, like I said, I used the 6-speed. I had it like tipped up like that, but I perfected my design and I got it steering, on a flatter angle. So that works a lot better. And then it kind of cantilevers here, and I stuck this pin piece in here just to kind of hold things so it doesn't move. I was doing everything I could to save weight. So that's why I would do things like use rubber bands and stuff to kind of hold things in place. The motor has so much torque that it would turn slightly. It would, okay, so look, if I All right, you see how it's pretty still, okay? But it has so much torque that it would actually torque this way or that way. Well, that would shake loose after a while. And it would also make the transmission, okay, this part here, move in the opposite direction, so that would shake. So that was a problem. Okay, so I was like, well, let me try different things. So I put, these bungees on it to get it to stop moving. That it worked somewhat, but then I had to do more. Then I put these bungees on it. All kinds of experiments, okay, to get this right. Then there was torque on these gears, so they were not in line with the chain 100% because there was pressure on it. My experience with chains, I've been working with Lego chains since they first started, like in '78, and I've generally been pretty disappointed in the chains, but it was really the best solution because what I did is I tried a band. I put two like wheels, okay, that would hold a rubber band, and I did a belt drive. But the belt drive actually created so much resistance, the rubber up against the plastic, that it added so much torque that things would fall apart. So reluctantly, I said, all right, let me go to a chain. I mean, I could have just tried to orient it so that the gears touched each other. But again, not everything is easy to do. There are certain set distances that, the toys have intrinsic to their build, like these snap pieces. And I just couldn't get the gear ratio that was going to easily mesh the gears together. So I used a chain, but the chain would either be too loose or too tight. So then I thought about my real car, which I work on, and I'm like, well, I need a tensioner gear. So I just put this passive gear in to just add some tension to the chain so that the chain doesn't vibrate, because without this, it vibrates like crazy and it shakes itself off. It shakes itself apart. It snaps. So you needed to have it tight, just the right amount of tightness. So now after many experiments, I found a secondary purpose for these rubber bands. Instead of using them as a belt drive, using it to help hold things down and together and not shaky. So, all right. That being said, I'm ready to show you how this car actually drives. Okay, so I'm going to try to hold the remote and do the car at the same time. Now, right now it's in fourth gear. So what happens is it will go faster. This will be the fastest gear, but it has less torque because it's fourth gear. It's like if you were to try to start a bicycle in fourth gear, it's really hard to pedal, right? Let's say you try to start your bicycle in 10th gear or 21st gear, right? It's really hard to get it started. But if you start in first gear and work your way up to the 21st gear, now the 21st gear is for going fast. The ratio is such that you don't have to do as many revolutions turning with your legs to get the bicycle to go quickly. All right, so this is the problem, the same situation here. So that's fourth gear. So if we go all the way over here and we go to first, that's going to be the highest torque. So it's going to... So actually, it's got so much torque, you can see the wheels are skidding. Now, if I did rubber wheels, yes, they would not slide. But then again, now you're taking the weight of the vehicle. The rubber is not going to be forgiving. So what's going to happen is it's going to put a lot of torque on those gears. So this way, they slide a little bit. Now, because this is digitally proportional, here's where... it's really great to have digitally proportional because now I can alter the pressure on the gears. Okay, so you see if I just go slow, I don't get a lot of spinning. Okay, see that? So if I had it, how I had it in fourth gear before and I just did full acceleration, that would have made the gears, the teeth would skip on each other because it just takes so much torque to do that. But with the digitally proportional control, I can control that speed. Ooh, something. Okay. Yeah, but you hear that? That was gear slipping. Okay. You know what it is? I think I didn't have it, the stick shift all the way in gear. No, you know what? Something got loose. But So, but you see in reverse, okay, it's, you know what, see, second gear is giving me trouble. You know, sometimes it's just, let's go to third. All right, third gear. But that's what I'm talking about, the gears. So third gear. So the interesting thing about this is that if one gear is giving you trouble and slipping, that doesn't mean they all are. So sometimes, so I can go third gear and I can go really slow, or I can just start slow and just have it go faster and faster. Third gear seems to be actually the optimum gear. You can see I can get it to peel out and get a lot of torque, but I can also, it'll also go pretty quick. And then fourth gear. So fourth gear doesn't peel out, even if when I hit the full acceleration, because it doesn't have the torque. But third gear does. I'm going to have to figure out what went on with second gear here. Sometimes it's just a matter of you just kind of like have to squeeze things together. There's things that get loose in demonstrating. Let me see. Maybe if I push this forward, let's see. Nah, something's not, you know, okay. But in reverse, so that's the other thing. Okay, so you can see how the gears kind of move, like jump, and that's how things slip. So sometimes it's really just something somewhere got a little bit loose, and by squeezing things together, it'll be all right. Now going in reverse, that just because it skips going forward doesn't mean it's going to skip in reverse too, because it's the way the pressure on the gears. Now if I start really slow, that's second gear. So see, that's what I'm talking about. So for some reason, there's something loose in second gear, but we can overcome that looseness by just starting out really slow and working its speed up. You see? And then no skipping. So that is the advantage of the digitally proportional speed control. Because if it was the simple kind, it would just be full power forward or reverse, and that's too much for the gears, and it would strip. This speed control also has a lithium battery in it, so you can charge it with your phone charger. Okay, it's just your standard micro C charger there, and it lasts. You know what? I haven't had to. I've used it for hours testing it, and I haven't had to recharge it. So, you know, and then here you can have both going on at the same time. You can have your, you know, and then have that going. Oh, that's second gear. Yeah, take it out of second gear. All right, and then so we go like that, and then. And so you gotta have both going at the same time if you have dexterous fingers. And so, and again, the steering, you just steer it, and it'll work great like a, you know, like a regular RC car. And then go in reverse, you know, controlling this and there, and driving it. And you see in the background, you see those transformers over there. I will be doing a show on that soon, so look forward to that. That's going to be Transformers Arc. So, all right. This is, like I said, the final product of this car for now. And I will be building a rock climbing Lego type car. Now, these are the same design as Legos, but they're not labeled as Lego. They are some kind of off-brand, and so some of them, actually some of the motors do say Lego, but you're going to pay a lot less for these through Temu or AliExpress than if they were Lego. I mean, just imagine, look, this 6-speed transmission, like I said, it was $5.60. This 4-speed was only $3, like $3.50. And the motors, you can get like the full motor package for something, you know, like the servo and a couple of powerful motors. I mean, there's all kinds of packages, like $15, $25, get a bunch of motors. You know, get your, you know, I would always recommend if you can get the variable speed control for like $16 to $20, that's always the way to go. Okay. You know, it's just more versatile in so many ways. So when I build that rock climber, that'll be on the show. And I look forward to building that. I haven't gotten started yet, and maybe I'll have to strengthen it up with some snaps, right? So, all right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly look forward to getting this thing right. I'll tell you, I worked on it feverishly to get this right so I could show you guys a working vehicle. And you know, Mrs. GL1 is very impressed with what I did, and I told her, you know, I said, you know, you might be impressed with this, but I'll tell you, the kids out there doing robotics, this is almost amateur hour. So, but you know, I hope you can appreciate it, because it's just a lot of fun. And when you play with, you know, real RC cars, you know, you can appreciate what goes into it. And I'll tell you, one thing I wish, and I was saying, is that if you could order some metal gears, so once you get like a design put together, you can order metal gears, and you know, these little push pieces that hold things together. If they made like a you know, sort of like a special edition, really hard ones that really hold everything together, that would just be fantastic, because that's really part of the problem. You know, Legos, these plastic, you know, gears, they are real gears, they are real systems, but they have a strength problem, and that's what you have to always try to overcome. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.